for 11 meters. So give a warm hand.
Okay, actually I'm here to tell you about something completely different. I'm here to tell you about how to find a new home, because that's what my company is actually doing for you, of course. So, how many of you had to find a new home in the last 12 months? Hands up. So few? Wow, great, you're lucky. Because finding a new home is always a big hassle. And I would like to show you a little bit how finding a new home changed over time and how finding a new home is so much easier nowadays. In the beginning, it was real simple. The average caveman would find himself a nice cave, maybe evict the present tenant, and live there happily ever after. A little bit later, mankind started to settle down and build dwellings. I would call this the open source era of home construction, because everybody built their own home, everybody could copy their home designs from their neighbor, and that was okay and accepted. Of course, later on, mankind developed specialization, and one of the first effects was outsourcing. Now, homeowners were able to task others with building a home. And later on, of course, payment also became more accepted for that. If you have payments, we call it a market. And if you have a market, obviously the market needs some base to function. And that base, in the very beginning, was maybe something else, but very soon it became newspapers. And I would like to show you what happened to that. Here you see a newspaper from 1878 and a house that was built exactly in the same year. The house is simple and the newspaper is also rather simple. Let's skip forward more than 100 years and you can see the house became very beautiful. Now we have modern buildings, really cool stuff, but what happened to the newspapers? Well, they had so much advanced they managed to add color. Isn't that great? Okay, now you're asking, what's about Berlin? What is the connection? Berlin is a very, very special city because Berlin was divided for almost half a century, and then in '89 we had the big grand reunification with the Berlin Wall fall. And as a result of that, we suddenly had twice the amount of newspapers in the city that you would usually find. And the newspapers in Berlin were competing very much over the same market, so that the real estate market in the newspapers was really difficult. Listing an apartment was very cheap. People had to buy 4 or 5 newspapers to find an apartment. And honestly, it sucked. Let's ask those people who found a home in the last 12 months. How many of you use this tool to find your new home? 2. Congratulations. Because actually, back then, some people decided to change the game and do away with that. That's the people who founded Immobilienscout24, Germany's first real estate listing portal. It started out as a simple phone service where people looking for a new home would actually call in by phone, tell them what they want. We would print a thick stack of glossy exposés and mail it to them in the mail, and then they would look at that and contact the owners. Of course, that was only a test, and then we went to the internet and started the Immobilienscout24 website. And we started that in Berlin, because Berlin had the most aggressive, the most difficult real estate market, where the newspapers were really ruling the market. Well, it took a lot of development, and as a young company, we were very bold and did everything we could, and all kind of crazy actions to attract seekers, people who look for new apartments, and also to attract realtors, people who try to sell or rent out an apartment. Over the time, there had been great success, and Immobilien Scout is now Germany's leading real estate marketplace, and if you want to find a new home in Germany, you will find it on our website. Now, what's the connection to Berlin? Well, we thought back then, if we manage in Berlin the most difficult market, we'll manage everywhere in Germany. And that was true. Our competitors are not in Berlin, and they didn't manage so well. So I would really subscribe our success also to being in Berlin, where we found a lot of good people, and we are a very nice big company now, about 500 people. Last year, we of course also went mobile, so nowadays you even don't need a computer to find your new apartment. You just take a mobile device, drive around the city, and choose where you want to live. Whatever brought you to Berlin? if you're seeking a new job or just in your home, please do visit our homepage, and I'm sure that we can help you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Schlomo Schapiro.